Real Virginia is proudly produced by the Virginia Farm Bureau Federation. Since 1926, Farm Bureau has been working to preserve Virginia farms and our rural heritage. Visit our website at vafb.com.
Hello everyone and welcome to Real Virginia, a show about Virginia agriculture and the people who produce the wonderful local products we enjoy. Brought to you by the Virginia Farm Bureau. What are Virginia's top farm products? We'll count them down as we celebrate National Agriculture Week. A hearty potato soup is a welcome addition to your springtime menu. And we visit with a Virginia emu farmer who's been raising these special birds for almost 3 decades.
Home will always be Virginia, between the Blue Ridge and Chesapeake Bay, Atlantic to Appalachia, home in my heart always.
Welcome back to Real Virginia, everyone. We're coming to you this week from local food producer Old Tavern Farm in New Kent County. Based on economic impact, agriculture is Virginia's largest industry. Burke Moeller takes a look at the top 3 contributors to Virginia's farm economy.
With Ag Day, March 22nd, and the Winter Olympics just concluded, we thought now would be a good time to count down the top 3 farm products here in the Commonwealth of Virginia. First of all, Virginia produces a great variety of agricultural products. From oysters to peanuts to cotton to sheep, the Old Dominion brings forth a cornucopia of goods. But in the end, only 3 can make it to the medal podium. These are the top 3 agricultural sectors based on cash receipts, according to data published in December 2021 by the Virginia Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services, or VDACS. Let's begin with the bronze. Coming in at number 3, the always ambiguous miscellaneous crops. But wait! VDACS has a footnote at the bottom of their list indicating that miscellaneous crops includes vegetables, barley, mushrooms, sunflowers, rye, sorghum, seed crops, and other field crops. Bonnie Swanson runs Evergreen Lavender Farm in Appomattox County. She started out selling at local farmers markets and then, based on the interest from her customers, decided to get into agritourism.
The whole enterprise of harvesting the lavender, drying it, taking it off the stem, for people to use in crafts or to throw at weddings. I mean, it's a wide variation of things, or edible lavender too. It's a big culinary component.
All told, miscellaneous crops brought in $319 million. Now to the silver, and beef cattle take the second spot on the podium. Virginia's cattle and calf producers brought home $372 million as of December 2021. According to the most recent Census of Agriculture, cattle and calves are raised on 21,880 farms in just about every part of Virginia. Bill McDonald's family has owned his property since before the American Revolution. He raises seed stock cattle.
We have an annual bull sale the first Saturday in April, and then do private treaty sales after that and sell most of our females private treaty. But we guarantee the bulls, and if they're not happy with the bulls, they can step back on the trailer and come back home. Okay. We want satisfied customers.
And finally, taking home the gold for the Commonwealth, it's broilers, or chickens. Specifically chickens raised for meat as opposed to laying hens, which produce eggs. Broilers brought in $625,026,000. George Ashman and his son David are part of a multi-generational family of farmers.
It's 2% of people like us in this world that raise food. So it's a mentality. Most people do not have it. Right. You have to get up and make the day work and then do it again the next day.
Again, Virginia's been a good place for the entire poultry industry. There are numerous companies in Virginia, and the Eastern Shore has a lot of production. The Shenandoah Valley has a lot of production, and Amelia County, Nottoway County here in Central Virginia, and Buckingham, and it's been a good place to raise poultry, and the companies have welcomed us here and been here a long time.
Broilers may be at the top of the podium, but we won't pause to hear them attempt the national anthem. We'll just thank the people who bring us these outstanding agricultural products found all over Virginia. Rounding out the top 10, At 4, turkeys. 5th place is dairy. 6th place goes to soybeans. 7th place for all other animals. Wow. 8th place is corn. 9th is floriculture. And finally, number 10 goes to hay. Thanks again to all of our agricultural producers. You are all champions. In Richmond, Virginia, I'm Burke Moeller reporting.
Agriculture is responsible for a total of $70 billion in economic activity in Virginia each year, according to the latest economic impact study from the University of Virginia. More than 334,000 Virginians work on the farm or in related industries. Nearly 54,000 of them work right on the farm or in processing facilities. Forestry is another big part of the rural economy, with an economic impact of another $21 billion. There are more than 43,000 farms in the Old Dominion, several thousand fewer than a decade ago. The average farm size is 181 acres, reflecting how many producers have small or part-time operations.
I'm Mark Viette. Coming up on In the Garden, we're going to talk about how to prevent Japanese beetles. Stay with us.
We're stronger together, especially at this difficult time. For over 90 years, we've watched our membership grow, and we're honored to be part of such a special community. Thank you to the farmers who provide for us every day. Virginia Farm Bureau is proud to serve our members, their families, and to give back to our local communities. That's the Farm Bureau way.
Warm weather is coming, and that means so are insect pests. Mark Viette has some tips on dealing with Japanese beetles in the garden.
I have learned over the years one of the best ways with dealing with Japanese beetles is to prevent them. Never really let them get started in your garden. What a lot of us do is, well, keep in mind one thing, only about 5% of the plants that we grow in our garden, Japanese beetles like. It's just that those 5% of the plants are some of our favorites, like the roses or crepe myrtle. Once you start getting quite a few Japanese beetles to your plants in the garden, they send out a pheromone or an attractant for all their mates. And their mates can smell this attractant up to 400 or 500 feet away. So you're inviting them and attracting them from all around your garden and from all your neighbors' gardens. That's why I recommend Japanese beetle traps being put out 400 or 500 feet away from your garden. The real key is, I use the word prevent. That means whenever you normally get Japanese beetles in your garden, maybe the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, or 4th week of June, you want to spray a preventative spray that prevents them. And this is a spray that when they come to your garden, they feed on your plants and they die. But if you see a whole bunch of them on your plant and you spray your plant and they die, even over the next 1 or 2 weeks, even though they're dead, they still send out their attractant. So timing is critical. This is one of my favorite crepe myrtles. It's known as catawba, just coming into bloom. Now, getting back to the preventative spray, right now, if I were to spray this plant, it is coming into flower. And honeybees love this plant. So I've solved a couple things. When I spray as a preventative, I was spraying it almost before it came into bud. So I didn't have to worry about what am I going to do when it's in full flower. And if you look carefully here, you can see some of the Japanese beetles right here are coming to the plant, but there is only maybe a dozen Japanese beetles on the entire plant, and that's because I used a preventative spray. You can also look at the foliage, and you'll see very little damage to the foliage from Japanese beetles. And the real key again is preventative. So 1 to 2 weeks before you normally find Japanese beetles in your garden, you're going to want to spray according to the label directions. I never really like spraying flowers that are opening because that definitely will affect your pollinators and honeybees. I'm Mark Viette. Join me next time in the garden.
For more garden tips, go to inthegardenradio.com.
Hi, I'm Chef Tammy Brawley from the Green Kitchen. Coming up on Heart of the Home, a delicious potato soup. We hope you'll stay tuned.
And now, a sneak peek into a day in the life of a Virginia dairy cow. They get their day started. They have some lunch. Get some exercise. Spend time with their friends. And then end their day with dairy sweet dreams. Real dairy, real life, real delicious.
Potatoes are a great ingredient in any hearty stew. Chef Tammy Brawley says they're also delicious when you make them the focus of their own soup in the heart of the home.
I'm Chef Tammy Brawley from the Green Kitchen. Welcome to Heart of the Home. I'm very excited to show you this soup recipe this morning. This is a fantastic recipe. I like it for a lot of different reasons, mainly obviously because of the flavor, but it's also a very versatile recipe if you're trying to eat a little healthier. We are going to do full fat this morning, but we'll show you how it's done. We're going to start with some bacon. We've already diced up our bacon. I will give you a little tip to dice up bacon. As you probably have figured out, it does end up taking a little while because it's so soft when you cut it with a knife. Well, if you actually put it in your freezer for about a half an hour or so and get it a little firm, it's a lot easier to dice. So that's a great little tip to use. So now what we're going to do is we're going to move the bacon around. Now we're going to let it render its own fat, of course. I could have added butter, I could have added olive oil, but I like to let the bacon do the trick. So we're going to let it render its own fat. Now, what I was saying there at the beginning about it being so versatile, if you're trying to eat a little healthier and you guys want to substitute a turkey bacon for this, that's perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with that. You might have some people in your folks or your family that don't eat pork, so go ahead and substitute the turkey bacon. If you did substitute it, I would recommend that you add a little bit of fat to the pan because turkey bacon is typically pretty lean. So you'd want to go ahead and add maybe just a tablespoon or so of olive oil before you render the turkey. So now I'm going to go ahead and add about 1.5 cups of onions to our pan or pot. These are kind of a small dice onion. Keep in mind that when you're cooking in the kitchen that something bigger is always going to take longer to cook. So you want to kind of small dice the onions so they don't take that long. So to our bacon and our onions, we are going to add about 2 tablespoons of flour. I would like to kind of make a note here. I use a lot of these containers in our cooking here in Heart of the Home. These are recyclable, and I do recycle quite a bit in my kitchen. It is something that I'm actually pretty passionate about. Living here in Richmond, I've lived here since 1986, and I started curbside recycling before the city started curbside recycling. So we're going to dump in about 2 tablespoons of flour, and we're going to coat our onions and our bacon. The flour is going to be what thickens up the soup, and in addition to some sour cream and egg yolks at the end. So you just want to kind of distribute the flour pretty evenly, almost not see any white when you're cooking it. If you see a little bit, that's okay. But you want to get it nice and distributed amongst the bacon and the onions. Then you want to come back and you want to add about 3 to 4 medium white potatoes that we have peeled and sliced very thinly. Once again, something thicker is going to be, something bigger or thicker is going to take longer to cook. So that's why you want these to be somewhat thinly sliced. Now you want to come back with approximately a quart, maybe less, maybe more, of stock. We have a beef stock here. Again, as far as talking about eating healthier, if you wanted to substitute a chicken stock for this, you certainly can. Even a vegetable stock instead of beef. This is, I love doing the beef broth. I think it adds a little bit more of a flavor, but the other soup with turkey bacon and chicken stock is just as good. Now you're looking to cover the potatoes with the broth. It's going to have to come to a boil, and it's going to simmer for about a half an hour. By then our potatoes should be nice and tender. We're going to then come back and add some sour cream and some egg yolks at the end, and you'll have a nice, delicious bowl of hearty potato soup for dinner. All right, and we're back. Our potato soup is cooked about a half an hour or so. Sometimes it might take less, sometimes it might take more. It depends on how thick your potatoes are cut. These were cut fairly thin, and I can tell by the way the spoon feels on them that they're done. I'm going to turn the burner down now. And all we're going to add are the last two ingredients, and they make a surprising amount of difference. And first of all, we've got 2 egg yolks. I'm actually going to toss them into my sour cream a little bit. The reason I want to do that is I really don't want to hit the hot liquid with egg yolks. That will immediately scramble the eggs. And I probably should have chosen a little bit of a bigger vessel for this, but that's all right. We can make it work. Now, at a little bit at a time, we're going to add the egg yolks and sour cream mixture. And for those of you out there, you can also substitute a yogurt for this if you wanted to. Yogurt and sour cream are fairly interchangeable in recipes. So if you have all of the ingredients, but you don't have sour cream, but you have plain yogurt, go ahead and use it. I wouldn't make a special trip to the store just for that. So we're going to add our mixture now to our potato soup. Going to stir it around. It's going to get nice and creamy and thick. All right, we also want to add some salt and pepper to this, some kosher salt and some coarse ground pepper. Potatoes are notorious for needing salt, although I am sometimes a little conservative with this depending on the bacon that I've used. A pork bacon is going to be saltier than a turkey bacon, so I would add less salt if I have the pork bacon, which in this case we do. And a little bit of coarse ground pepper. Keep in mind you can always add more salt and pepper at the dinner table, but you certainly do want to taste your food first before you add any more spices to it. All right, we're going to put some in a bowl, and we're going to sit down and enjoy a nice dinner. And there you have it. Potato soup with pork bacon and beef broth, but you can substitute turkey bacon and chicken broth if you'd like. We're going to enjoy this. We're going to top it with just a little bit of coarse black pepper. I'm Tammy Brawley with The Green Kitchen. Join us next time on Heart of the Home.
Recipes from the Heart of the Home can be found on the Virginia Farm Bureau website at vafb.com/recipes, as well as on Chef Tammy Brawley's website at greenkitchenrichmond.com.
Virginia potato growers raise about $20 million worth of new potatoes every summer. 90% of the Old Dominion's potato production is on the eastern shore, where the sandy loam soil and slightly warmer winters provide excellent growing conditions. There's a proud tradition of growing potatoes on the shore. Grocery store chains along the East Coast buy them every year, when other growers further south have either finished harvest or growers up north are just getting started. Virginia farmers raise white, red, yellow, and even purple potatoes. These are the smaller varieties than the larger baking potatoes from the western U.S.
Emu are flightless birds from Australia that have been raised for meat and other products for decades. Norm Hyde visits with a pioneering Virginia producer to learn what's next in the industry.
You could call Ann Geller Virginia's first emu entrepreneur. Back in 1993, she was convinced of the potential of raising and breeding emu birds for their meat. Low in fat and calories, they seem like a good alternative livestock for rural landowners and smaller farmers who are not making a profit with cattle and dairy. Unfortunately, her first few years were pretty lean. After investing $55,000 in her first birds and building pens to hold them, she spent the next 2 years traveling the country introducing her business to buyers. By then, the emu market had collapsed, and selling the birds to other breeders was no longer a profitable option. But Geller hung in there.
I was determined that I was not giving up on these birds. we got things the way I should have gotten them in the beginning, instead of getting a whole bunch of birds at one time and everything like that, and trying to, trying to take care of them in that respect.
Turns out emu meat was popular with high-end restaurants, and Geller ramped up production with her husband John. At one time, there were as many as 3,000 birds on their farm. But emu meat never caught on with the general public, so she spent years seeking new markets for emu products, like their eggs and feathers. Finally, after her husband passed away a decade ago, she found a niche.
After these are processed and everything, we get about 2 liters of oil, and most of which we sell just, just the plain oil, in the bottles and all. But we have 15 products and everything out on the market now.
Emu are not as aggressive or dangerous as ostriches, but they are powerful birds and different than other domestic fowl in Virginia. They're well able to defend themselves from predators. The male bird, not the female, sits on an egg clutch for weeks until they hatch, foregoing all food and water. And they are constantly in motion.
Don't never sit down. When it snows, we had 2 foot of snow up here. They about walked it all down. It'd be 2 foot out there and sheet of ice in here.
Emu wrangler Andy Deskins remembers when there were a lot more than the 20 birds they have on the farm today, and managing them was a full-time job. Rounding them up, if they got out, was very difficult. Eventually, he had to learn how to lasso them like cattle.
Storm blow through and blow a tree down on the fence, and you get 15 birds out over in the highway somewhere. You got a problem, big problem, because the city, the police, the SPCA, nobody wants to fool with them.
Believe it or not, they stay in here pretty well, but I've seen them do some crazy things. Like one will lay at the base of the fence and everything, and then the other, the male, will come running up and everything like that, and just sort of pole vault over, and they're not stupid birds by any manner of means.
Feed costs were enormous when there were thousands of emu on this farm. Even today, they are unusually high since emu require a high-protein feed. Deskin says he's learned how to save a few dollars.
We used to feed nothing but pellets. Then I found out that they like corn even better than the pellets. They'll get on a diet of pellets after a while. But if you put pellets in there in the corn, they'll eat all the corn, not touch the pellets.
Almost 30 years after starting, Geller's emu farm is a shadow of its former size. But her enthusiasm for emu remains strong, and she'd love to see other Virginia farmers start raising them. The market for emu oil is there, and she could help it grow with more birds in the pipeline.
I'm going to be 78 in July, and we never had children or anything like that, and I don't know what I would do if I got out of it. Educating people and everything like that on, on the benefits of this, this amazing bird gives me a reason to get out of bed in the morning.
Geller ships her emu products to buyers around the world. You can learn more about them at her website, thunderridgeemu.com. In Fauquier County, Virginia, I'm Norm Hyde reporting.
We're so glad you could join us this week to celebrate all the bounty Virginia has to offer. From the kitchen to your home and garden to our beautiful wide open spaces, we are proud to say that this is Real Virginia. For everyone from the Virginia Farm Bureau, thanks for watching. Make it a great week.
Home will always be Virginia, between the Blue Ridge and Chesapeake Bay, Atlantic to Appalachia, home in my heart always.
You're going to need me. You're going to need us. All of us. You're going to need our help with your water, your air, your food. You're going to need our determination, our compassion. You're going to need the next generation of leaders to face the challenges the future will bring. And we promise we'll be there when you need us.
Did you know dragging chains can spark a wildfire?
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Hey, look, it's those guys.
Get some drinks!
Are you good to drive?
I'm fine.
How many did you have?
I should be fine.
You should be.
Go and step out of the vehicle for me.
See ya, buddy. Good luck.
So turns out, buzz driving and drunk driving, they're the same thing, and it costs around $10,000. So not worth
it. Spending time outdoors has never felt more valuable. Whether it's exploring nature or relaxing in your yard, let's do it responsibly. Before going out, check for closures and fire restrictions. Practice social distancing, even when outside and on the trail. Back at home, if burning yard debris, keep your pile small. And no matter where you are, be sure to properly extinguish any outdoor fire. Drown, stir, drown, feel. We're all in this together. Help keep our safe places safe.
Here you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
They're out there on the front lines. The brave, the dedicated, the relentless. But there's another front line. The one that helps nourish all others while facing epic struggles of their own. So in this season of uncertainty, a few things remain certain. The rain will fall, the sun will shine, and together we'll continue to grow.
Put the keys down, Kevin.
But I'm gonna drive home.
There are several warning signs present that you shouldn't be driving.
My text to emoji ratio has gotten a little out of hand.
A little?
Yep, I'm definitely gonna call a ride home.
There are 30,000 roadway accidents each year involving cars and farm machinery. Farmers will be moving equipment for planting and harvest season. The slow-moving vehicle triangle in red and fluorescent orange colors and flashing lights allow for quick identification. When you see an SMV sign on farm equipment, slow down, prepare for sudden stops and slow turns.
Patience will save lives. Just remember, we all need to share the road, we all need to be responsible, and we need to be guided by the law.
Motor vehicle safety starts with you.